My motto is, I plan ahead so I can relax on vacation, and because there's not just one way to Disneyland, I'm going to nerd out today on all the nitty-gritty planning stuff that nobody else tells you so you can plan a Disneyland trip that's just right for you. So let's get started. Of course, the very first thing to do when planning on visiting the Disneyland Resort is buying the tickets. And the very first thing you have to consider before even buying the tickets is if there's going to be reservations available on the days you want to go before you even purchase the tickets. Now, if you're planning and booking more than 4 months ahead of time, the reservation schedule won't be available yet, but you'll probably be plenty safe to still buy your tickets and reserve your dates once the dates are available. I highly suggest downloading the Disneyland app on your phone first and setting up your account complete with sign-in before you do anything else. Then, once you buy your tickets, be it through Disneyland website or a third-party website or company, just make sure any third-party ticket seller is a legitimate one with reviews and people you know who have used it, because there are shady ticket resellers out there, let me tell you. My family's favorite sites to use are Getaway Today, Costco, and my husband's work has a special travel discount website that we can also buy tickets from. Costco is a good place to get a good deal if you want to stay at a Disneyland-owned hotel and bundle your tickets with it for a discount. They'll also usually give you a Disney gift card of some sort with your booking, so it can be a pretty good deal there. Getaway Today has always been very reliable for us and easy to use. Currently, they have a 5th day free deal going on that is a screaming awesome deal if you're thinking of doing multiple days at the parks. Once you purchase your tickets and have your ticket's barcode number, you can make your park reservations. And please note the reservations are separate from the actual ticket purchase, although if you buy your tickets on Disneyland's website, you can book your reservations at the same time. And whether you make a reservation on the Disneyland website or app, it's a pretty easy process to do. You do need to know which park you want to start at on what days, and don't forget to notice if a park will be closing early for an after dark event as you choose your days at the parks. Then once you've purchased your tickets and made reservations, I always take screenshots of every single ticket and reservation number and save them in a separate photo album in my phone just in case the app malfunctions or the Wi-Fi on my phone isn't working. It's always good to have proof and backups of everything so you can party worry-free. Next, you need to figure out where to stay. Now, I've made a video about the hotels around Disneyland, but I'm going to be honest, it was one of my first videos ever, so it's a bit dry, but the info is helpful. Picking a hotel is a very personal decision based on your group's needs, so the best hotel for you will vary. What makes a property perfect for some may make it an absolute no for others. Now, do you have to stay at a Disney-owned property to have a good experience and to be close to the park? I don't think so, especially because the price point is so different for Disney properties. And if you don't believe me, I'll show you what I mean. Here's a comparison of the Grand Californian compared to my personal top picks to stay at for being nice and clean and modern and close to the parks, and usually have a couple of extra selling points as well. All of these prices are for 4-night stay with 3-day park hopper passes for 2 adults on the same dates in November. So with Getaway Today's discounted price for the Grand Californian, it's a little over $5,000. Meanwhile, a block and a half away, you can stay at the newly renovated Sheraton Park Hotel. It's a modern-styled hotel with a lovely lobby and staff. Clean rooms, not the biggest rooms, but more quiet than most hotels are. Lovely views and balconies with most rooms. A Starbucks in the hotel lobby, fabulous dining options, a really fun and private pool area with a poolside bar, and an easy walk to the parks for a little over $1,600. That is over a $3,000 difference. That's a lot of churros, friends. For a bit further walk, but always at a really fair price, you have the Suncoast Hotel. It's a newer, more modern hotel that's clean and family-friendly. The pool is large, the rooms are larger than the average Disneyland area hotels, and across the street, you have access to a ton of dining options, again at a fraction of the price of a Disney hotel, just slightly under $1,800. If you like the idea of seeing the fireworks from right outside your window or waking up to the sights of the Matterhorn, and being just 4 buildings away from Disney's main entrance, while also having a Panera Bread in the parking lot for easy healthy food options, you may like the Fairfield Inn for a little under $2,000, or you can stay at its neighbor, the Courtyard Anaheim Theme Park Entrance and Water Park Resort, with its own awesome water park, family-friendly room setups, great views of the park, and good dining options for a fraction of a Disney property. Still just hitting under the $3,000 mark. As you can see, where you're staying can make a huge difference on the bottom line of your budget, so do your homework for sure in this category. Transportation is going to be a huge part of your Disneyland planning, so let's get started on this one. First, let's talk about flying in because you have several options that are all very different from each other. The first option would be to fly into LAX. LAX is the biggest airport in the surrounding area and therefore will have the most flight options as well as usually the cheapest prices with a lot of airlines. The cheaper prices will come at a cost though. LAX is a large international airport that is about 35 to 45 minute drive to the Disneyland area. It's currently undergoing some remodel, therefore expect long security lines, terminal roulette as far as if you're going to get a brand new nice terminal, an under construction terminal, or a very dated one. Drop-off and pickup areas can be very busy and chaotic. A lot of the car rentals around LAX have some of the worst reviews I've ever seen, even from normally dependable companies, but I still often fly in and out of it just because sometimes you just can't beat the price. Just be prepared for the craziness. If you're a seasoned traveler and used to large airports, you'll have no problem. If you're not, make sure you've done your research and give yourself plenty of time. The next airport is Long Beach Airport, a smaller, more boutique airport that is about 25 to 35 minute drive to the Disneyland area. I actually really like this airport. It's small but really open and airy. Because it's so small, security and checking bags is a breeze. They plane and deplane outside, which usually speeds things up if they use 2 doors and 2 ramps to load. You won't find a ton of dining options there, but what they do have is nice. I haven't rented from the surrounding car rentals, but there is one that is walking distance from the airport. Using ride shares is really easy at Long Beach. The big downside to this airport is it only has 3 airlines servicing here, which are Delta, Hawaiian, and Southwest, and depending on the time of year, it can cost quite a bit more to fly into Long Beach instead of LAX, and it will have less times to choose from. I will say it's a nice airport to use if you're packing a bunch of luggage or have a bunch of kiddos to wrangle. I've flown solo with my daughter here and it was very manageable. It's most definitely an airport worth checking out in my opinion. Lastly, you have the Orange County John Wayne Airport, the closest airport to Disneyland with only a 15 to 20 minute drive to the parks. It has a lot more airlines flying out of it, especially the discount airlines like Frontier, Spirit, and Allegiant, but it can also be the most expensive out of these 3 airports as well. It's not as big as LAX, but it's bigger than Long Beach and is a very nice airport that will save you a lot of travel time. Car rentals from this airport are pretty easy, as well as ride shares, and it's a bit easier to navigate with little ones at tow. Long story short, you have a variety of choices. You just need to know what's important to you to make your personal choice. Now, speaking of driving from the airport, let's talk cars. Whether you're renting a car or driving in from a surrounding city or state, there are 2 major factors to consider: traffic and parking. There's no way you're going to manage escaping traffic driving around California, so buckle up, stay calm, and be smart about the times you're traveling on the road. Now, parking, 98% of the hotels in California charge for parking, and the hotels by Disneyland are no different. If you're driving a car, plan on paying no less than $15 a night, but probably closer to $30 a night for parking at most hotels. There are a few hotels within walking distance to the park that offer free parking, like Hotel Indigo and the Wyndham Anaheim, which are sister hotels and actually pretty nice hotels. I've stayed at both, and they were good stays. The Castle Inn and the Alpine Inn, those two would fit more in the budget category, but still nice enough to stay at. Those four would be my top suggestions, but there are more. If you're planning on staying close to Disneyland and just focusing on Disneyland and flying in, I highly suggest doing a rideshare, paid shuttle service, or a private car service to save on daily costs and hassle. And I know the idea of getting a private car service seems like hoity-toity and expensive, but you'd be surprised. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's say I have a family of 4 to 6 people. We fly into John Wayne and we're staying at the Residence Inn by Marriott for 4 nights and 3 days. If I rented a car, it would cost me $400 to $700 total, depending on what car I picked, plus $28 a night for parking, which is another $112. So let's say in total it costs around $600 or more just to drive to the hotel and park the car. Or you could hop on the SoCal Executive Car Service website and book a 7-passenger SUV for transport from the airport and back to the airport for under $300. Plus they can provide car seats and boosters for like $10 more, which means you're not dragging around car seats at the airport. I did this on one of my last trips and it was such a lifesaver. Our flight was delayed by like 4 hours. Our driver kept in touch with us and stayed on top of the arrival time. And after a long, stressful travel day, it was so nice to get picked up in a nice car with a car seat ready to go and just rest while our driver, who was so nice and a safe driver, dealt with the LA traffic. We got to just rest. The whole experience was professional and nice and ended up saving us $400 in the long run. I seriously would check them out. It might be worth it. Anyway, I know many of you who are watching my videos are locals or more seasoned Disneyland goers, so feel free to leave your Disneyland travel tips in the comments and try to help each other out. Let's talk about getting from your hotel to the parks. I always try to book a hotel that's a half a mile or less from the parks so we can just walk, or a hotel that is right by the Toy Story lot so we can just hop on the free Toy Story shuttle to the parks. Walking or taking a Disney parking shuttle are the cheapest and easiest ways to get to the parks. If you want to drive and park at one of the Disneyland parking lots like the Toy Story lot on Catella and Harbor, or the Mickey and Friends or Pixar lots behind the park on Disneyland Drive, it will cost you around $30 for all-day parking. You'll go through security at the lot and then be shuttled into the park entrance area. Ride shares are very easy to come across in this area. There are drivers that just circle the park area all day. There's a drop-off and pickup area right outside the main entrance on Harbor Boulevard. It can get really hectic and crowded in that area, so keep an eye on your little ones though when you're there. But overall, taking a rideshare to Disneyland is an easy process. There are very few hotels that offer free shuttles to the parks these days, and some will offer shuttles for a charge. I've had a good shuttle experience with the Majestic Garden Hotel. I can't really say that I've loved any of the other shuttle experiences I've had at other hotels. Let me know if you have though. Lastly, you can ride Anaheim's mass transit system called ART. This bus system has quite a few lines servicing the surrounding areas around Disneyland. If you're interested in this option, I highly suggest going to rideart.org to get exact prices and bus line info so you're fully up to date and know what to expect. Next, you need to make dining reservations. Now, of course, this only applies if you're wanting to eat at a sit-down restaurant, but even if you don't, I highly suggest researching all the food options at Disneyland so you have a plan going into your Disney days. Lucky for you, I've made a video all about that, so check it out. But if you do want to eat at one of the popular sit-down places like the Blue Bayou, Lamplight Lounge, Carthay Circle, Oga's Cantina, etc., I highly suggest hopping on the Disneyland app first thing in the morning 60 days out from the day you want to dine, and you should be able to snag a table. For me personally, I never make reservations for more than one restaurant a day. A, because it can get really pricey, and B, because if you have too many reservations, it starts really controlling your entire day. This next planning tip is for those with kids. Earning Mickey money is an awesome way to get your kids helping around the house and learn the value of $1. It also saves you from all of those souvenir fights in the park that you may have. So let me explain how it goes. I make a calendar-style chart and then some kind of a chore key with the task and how much money it earns. Then they have the freedom to choose the task and how much money they want to earn for souvenirs or extra snacks. When my daughter was younger, I made a money pouch where she could see and count the money. Nowadays, I load the amount of money on a Disney gift card, and she keeps track of how much she spent on her own. It also helps with not overspending. It teaches your kids how to budget their spending, and that money doesn't just magically appear on trees. You have to work for it. And then when you're at the park and your kids start saying, I want this, I want that, you just say, okay, is that what you want to spend your Mickey money on? Or do you have enough on your card? It really is truly magical. Sorry to interrupt, but if this video is helpful for you today, please consider subscribing to my channel. It's free for you and it helps me know that I'm reaching real people that appreciate the time I take to make these videos for you. Of course, don't forget to pack smart. I have made a video sharing my packing technique I've developed for packing myself and my kids to keep it light and efficient. So you can check that out if you'd like to know the details on that, but I'm also talking about what you bring. I highly suggest for those doing multiple days at the parks to bring 2 pairs of walking shoes and switch them each day. Trust me, your feet will thank you. And if you're bringing new shoes, break them in beforehand. Pack some layers because 9 months out of the year it can get really chilly at night and in the mornings. Just be really aware of what the highs and lows are of all of the days you're going to be at Disneyland so you can pack and wear clothes appropriately. Because it can be a really big bummer if you're uncomfortable all day. Clearly, I think planning is very important, but planning ahead is very different from scheduling every single second of your day out. With Disneyland, you want to plan enough so you know what's going on and you know what you're doing, but you want to leave enough room for the magic. The times when you come across a gaggle of characters and you want to wave hi to them and give them a hug. Leave some room for discovery and adventure. Allow yourself time to soak in the moment and acknowledge the shared human experience you're having with others from all around the world. And if you enjoyed this video today, subscribe to my channel for more like it, or you can check out the video on the right side of your screen there. Thank you for watching. Take care for now.